The death of the standard, why the German engine is running out of world. Imagine a master watchmaker sitting in a house that is slowly catching fire. He is working on a mechanical movement of such breathtaking complexity and precision that it could track the moon's phases for 1,000 years. The room is filling with smoke, the rafters are creaking, and the temperature is rising. But the watchmaker doesn't look up. He is obsessed with the tension of a single spring. He believes that if the watch is perfect enough, the fire won't dare touch him. Or worse, he believes the watch is more important than the house. This is Germany today. It is a country that has mistaken its past success for a law of physics. But the truth is simpler and much darker. Germany isn't falling apart. It just isn't needed by the world anymore in the form it worked so hard to perfect. The world has changed its operating system, and Germany is still trying to install the most beautiful hardware in history into a socket that no longer fits. For 30 years, we were told the German miracle was a product of superior culture, engineering DNA, and a unique Protestant work ethic. It was a beautiful story. It allowed German politicians to travel the world and lecture other nations on fiscal discipline and structural reform. But if you peel back the skin of this miracle, you find it wasn't built on a magical German spirit. It was built on three massive external gifts that were treated as if they would last forever. The Russian gift, dirt-cheap natural gas. This wasn't just energy, it was a hidden subsidy. It allowed German chemical plants to produce fertilizer and plastics cheaper than anyone else. It was the methamphetamine of German industry. It kept the lights on 24/7 at a cost that no competitor could match. The Chinese gift, an insatiable, booming market. For 20 years, China had a simple rule. If it was made of German steel and had a German logo, they bought it. Thousands of them. This created a lazy profit. German companies didn't have to fight for new markets. They just had to keep the assembly lines moving. The American gift, the security umbrella. Germany is the only major industrial power that spent decades living in a dangerous neighborhood while refusing to pay for locks on the doors. They outsourced their defense to Washington, using the billions they saved to build a comfortable, padded social state. Germany didn't just win at capitalism. They performed a spectacular global arbitrage. They took cheap energy from the East, added their legendary engineering, protected it with Western weapons, and sold the result back to the East for a massive profit. It was a perfect closed loop. Now the loop has snapped. The gas is gone. China has started building its own machines, better and cheaper. And America has finally sent the bill for the defense. When you lose your cheap fuel, your main customer, and your bodyguard in the span of 24 months, you don't just have a recession. You have a systemic collapse of your logic. In a Hollywood movie, an economic crash is loud. People jump out of windows, there are riots in the streets. But in Germany, decline is polite. It happens in the dark. When a giant like BASF or Volkswagen realizes it can no longer make money in Germany because electricity costs 5 times more than in the US, they don't hold a press conference to announce they are quitting. That would be too dramatic. Instead, they perform a quiet exit. They call it optimization. They stop investing in their German plants. They let the machines age. They take the 10 billion euros they were going to spend on a new factory in Saxony and they quietly move that capital to Texas or Poland or China. To the local worker in a small German town, everything looks fine. The factory gates still open at 8 a.m. The canteen still serves the same sausage. But the future of that factory is already gone. It's a ghost ship. It is a maintenance-only economy. Germany is becoming a museum of 20th century greatness, clean, orderly, and completely stagnant. Wealthy countries don't die of hunger, they die of irrelevance. They become too expensive for what they offer. Germany is currently pricing itself out of the future, and its leaders are too polite to admit that the Made in Germany label can no longer carry the weight of the massive energy bills and the aging workforce. Why don't they fight back? Why don't they innovate? Because Germany is a prisoner of its own virtues. They have a constitutional obsession called the Schwarz Null, the Black Zero. It is a law that says the government cannot borrow money to invest. In a household, this sounds like wisdom. In a global technology war, it is a suicide note. Imagine your neighbor is building a space rocket and a quantum laboratory, and you are sitting in a house with a leaking roof, bragging to the street that you have zero debt. You aren't being responsible, you are being delusional. While the US and China pour hundreds of billions into AI chips and biotech, Germany is busy patting itself on the back for having a balanced checkbook. The result is a high-tech country that runs on 1990s infrastructure. The German rail network, once the envy of the world, is now a punchline for jokes about delays and cancellations. The internet in rural Germany is slower than in many parts of Eastern Europe. The bureaucracy still runs on physical paper and fax machines. They are so afraid of making a fiscal mistake that they have opted for a perfect decline. They would rather be a bankrupt nation with a balanced budget than a thriving nation with a debt-to-GDP ratio. It is the logic of a man who refuses to buy a tractor because he wants to save money on gas, even as his crops rot in the field. The car is the soul of Germany. It's not just an export, it's an identity. The German soul is reflected in the sound of a closing Mercedes door, that solid, heavy thud. For a century, the German internal combustion engine was the pinnacle of human achievement. It required thousands of moving parts working in a violent, controlled explosion. It required centuries of accumulated knowledge in metallurgy and fluid dynamics. Then came the electric vehicle, EV. An EV is not a better car, it's a different species. It is a computer on wheels. It has about 20 moving parts instead of 2,000. Suddenly, all that German accumulated knowledge became a liability. It's like being the world's greatest calligraphy master in the year the printing press was invented. Your skill is still impressive, but the world no longer needs your hand-eye coordination. China realized this early. They knew they could never beat Germany at making engines, so they changed the game. They focused on batteries and software. Now, German car companies are in a panic. They are trying to teach a 100-year-old weightlifter how to dance ballet. Their culture is built on getting it right the first time, hardware, but the new world is built on failing fast and fixing it, software. The German psyche cannot fail fast. To a German engineer, a beta version is a personal insult to his ancestors. While Tesla and BYD update their cars' features overnight via the cloud, a German car owner often has to go to a physical dealership to update a map. The hardware is perfect. The software is a ghost. And in 2026, the world is buying software. The real strength of Germany was never just the big names like BMW or Siemens. It was the middle stand, thousands of medium-sized family-owned companies hidden in small, nondescript towns. These are the hidden champions. They make the world's best industrial needles, or specialized screws, or high-pressure valves for deep-sea oil rigs. These families have survived world wars, currency collapses, and the Cold War. But they are losing to the double squeeze. On one side, the cost of energy is eating their margins. A family-owned foundry that makes specialized steel parts cannot simply innovate its way out of a 400% increase in electricity costs. They can't move to the cloud. They deal with heat and metal. On the other side, the aging population is hitting them hard. The master who knows exactly how to calibrate the machines is retiring, and there is no one to replace him. Young Germans don't want to work in a dusty factory in a village. They want to be creative directors in Berlin. When a family business that has been the lifeblood of a village for 150 years finally closes its doors, it doesn't make the international news. There are no sirens. But that is where the German heart is stopping. One village at a time. One specialized valve at a time. Germany is a high-trust, low-risk society. In a stable world, this is paradise. You know exactly what will happen today, tomorrow, and in 10 years. But we no longer live in a stable world. We live in a world of disruption, a word that Germans genuinely hate. To disrupt something in Germany is to break it. The German education system, their vocational training, their management style, it's all designed to produce perfect iterations of what already exists. It is not designed to create something entirely new. You will find 10,000 people in Germany who can tell you why a new idea won't work according to the current regulations, but you will struggle to find one who will help you bypass those regulations to build it. They have become a country of managers, not creators. A country of regulators, not builders. They have more rules for how to build a balcony than most countries have for their entire economy. In a peaceful era, these rules create safety. In a chaotic era, they create a tomb. The social contract, the idea that if you work hard and follow the rules, the state will take care of you forever, is also fraying. As the industrial base shrinks, the tax base shrinks. But the number of retirees is growing. The state is asking the remaining workers to pay more and more to support a system that is visibly deteriorating. If you walk through Munich or Hamburg today, you won't see poverty. You will see people in expensive coats drinking €5 lattes. You will see beautiful, clean parks and luxury shops. But don't be fooled. This is the wealth of the parents. It is the momentum of a massive ocean liner that has turned off its engines but is still gliding through the water. It looks like it's moving, but it's actually just slowing down. Germany is living on its savings. It is eating its industrial seed corn. The tragedy of being the world champion of yesterday, is that you are too comfortable to change and too proud to admit you are failing. They keep polishing the silver while the water is rising in the hull. Germany has become the ultimate gladiator. He is standing in the center of the arena, his armor polished to a mirror finish, his sword heavy and sharp. He is ready for the fight of his life. He is the most disciplined, most prepared warrior in history. But the crowd has gone home. The lights are off. The sport has changed to something played with drones and algorithms in another building entirely. The gladiator is still standing there, waiting for an opponent who will never come, refusing to take off his armor because it's the only thing that makes him feel powerful. He is perfect. He is magnificent. And he is completely, utterly alone. The question is no longer whether the German machine can be fixed. Countries don't die when they're poor. They die when they're perfect for a world that no longer exists. The question is, what happens to a country that has spent 70 years convincing itself that staying the course is a virtue, when the course itself has led into a dead end? Will they break the machine to save the country, or will they let the country go down with the machine?